But Rhett, can you give everybody listening a little sense of like what you do and like what your, I won't say day to day, your year to year kind of role is?
Yeah, I am a strength and conditioning coach, and I have for the last decade have been working primarily overseas, and that's with China, the Netherlands, and now Germany. And it's been for the last decade specifically with women's volleyball. It's the big overview of it. But the way that I'd say my practice has evolved is what you alluded to, which is that I have noticed one of the most underserved parts of the training that strength and conditioning coaches do is in warm up. Whereas it's real easy to get around a table at happy hour and lament with other coaches how little time you have with your athletes, yet they seem pretty okay with just running the same 3 to 5 warm ups with their kind of limited library of warm up stuff where you're just skipping and crawling and doing these same kind of karaoke acceleration movements and things like that. Whereas I had a mindset shift 8, 10 years ago where I said, if I really want to move the needle with my team, my warm up needs to be reactive. My warm up and my training in general, but my warm up needs to be reactive to the needs of my team at that time. So if it's preseason, if it's the early season and my team is just weak, then I should make my warm up look like mini strength training sessions. We should be microdosing strength until shoulders feel more robust and bulletproof, till low back pain maybe goes away. If we are a slow team, then my warm-ups can look more like speed sessions where we are doing all the hamstring and calf prep before we are racing each other. And there are stakes and the coaches are watching which player at which position is the fastest. And if we are banged up, then it should look like rehab. I should be asking my physical therapist, hey, what are your favorite rehab exercises for the nagging plantar fasciitis or whatever it is that they're seeing in the treatment room that night. And that's where it kind of came from. I said, well, I'm just going to scrap all the traditional stuff in my warm-up library. Instead, all I have to do is get muscle tissue warm. So why don't I use that time better to be working on whatever my team needs? And just as a result, it also was never monotonous. The athletes never knew what they were going to get. It was
Right.
it's going to be a different kind of speed session, or it's going to be something bulletproofing them, or it's going to be an agility session, but it was never boring. And that's where this idea of having a warm up where athletes can't, in effect, sleepwalk through it like zombies. That's where that came from. And I ran with this idea of no zombies. And it's now part of it's kind of an overarching philosophy. And that is now become something where everyone knows me, boy, what a pompous thing to say. But I've become more well known for the fun that we do. Because when everything's going okay, when I'm not getting any input from my head coach that we need to work on so the physios aren't telling me, then I can either work on what I think is important. Maybe I get ready for some weight training that we're going to be doing in the weight room. I can start improving those patterns, or maybe we just have some fun. I just need to get your muscle tissues warm. So more and more, as I've learned more and more about volleyball, I will just take a hold of the game of volleyball, and maybe I steal a drill that I saw my head coach using 3 days ago and I add bungee cords to it. Maybe I take a drill that they were doing and I make them do it all with their opposite hand. And I just use that warm-up time to expand their movement library, where I give them almost these kind of like volleyball challenges that they have to try to master in the 8, 10 minutes that we have to just get their body temperature up. Instead of the traditional stuff, you'll see us playing kind of volleyball adjacent games. If you prescribe to like differential learning approach to training, more of an logical approach, which thank goodness is giving me some big fancy names for what is essentially just trying to expand their movement libraries, try to make them better movers, better at solving problems that they'll see on a volleyball court. That even if I design a volleyball game to warm them up that involves having to kick one of your passes on your side of the net, well, we might get better at kicking a volleyball, which actually happens in volleyball sometimes. Certainly your teammate will get better at tracking down the terrible kick that you just put out there, and everyone's warm. And if I can make it competitive and fun, all the better. So that's a long-winded explanation for kind of where this has come from. And it's designed to be an approach that, if done well, I'm making everybody happy. The athletes are happy with those games. They're building a bigger library. My head coach is happy because we're getting better at volleyball, maybe specifically the stuff he's been working on. My physical therapists like us, well, like what we're doing. So that's where it came from.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Trust Driven Insights, brought to you by Trust Driven Care. Imagine a world where all your patient communication is in one place, seamless, effortless, and on autopilot. That's the power of Trust Driven Care. If you're ready to streamline your practice, check out trustdrivencare.com and see what's possible. Trust Driven Insights, real conversations, smarter care, stronger business.